In my past life, just to keep my sister and mom alive, I sold myself short, literally. And then, when she grew up, she looked down on me. If my sister hadn't hooked up with old man Sue behind my back, my perfect match wouldn't have gone down the drain. Young Master Sue was so into me, he was going to marry me, for real. He forgot. Master Sue was my very first client. That night, I only did it to bring down his burning fever. I threw away all my dignity and offered myself up. And back then, I already had a childhood sweetheart who promised to marry me. Then Mom helped him slip me something. In the end, this family had to survive. We had no choice, that's what I told myself. Now I'm back, a second chance. I woke up on the day my sister's fever spiked. Cold rain dripped through the leaky roof onto my face. My hands, after washing dirty clothes all day, could barely push me up. From the next room, my sister was wailing.
You promised! Dad promised too. You said on my 18th birthday, I'd get a jade necklace. Sis got one. Why can't I? You guys are so unfair.
My dad passed away 3 months ago. The clan kept up appearances for us, but we were just widows and orphans now. Life was rough. Every few days, Mom would pull out something and hand it to me to pawn. Last month, even my own necklace went to the pawn shop. Traded for 2 pints of rice. Mom mumbled something in reply, but my sister just kept crying, sobbing so hard she was almost choking. In my past life, for her 18th birthday, I went out in the freezing cold, waded into the lotus pond, groping for mussels one by one, to dig out tiny broken pearls, to make her a birthday gift. She was so happy at first. She wore it out all proud. But by afternoon, she came back and ripped every bead and string off her neck. The biggest one wasn't even as big as the scholar's little girls.
Everyone laughed at me for wearing trash. Sis, your pearls are so tiny, so embarrassing.
Back then, I thought she was just being immature and still grieving over Dad. I kept comforting her. But now, when I think about the end of my past life, the poison kicking in, my whole body felt like it was being sliced open. She shoved a quilt over my mouth, so I couldn't make a sound. She was so strong. She looked me right in the eyes and said,
Sis, you've helped me so many times. This is the last time. Just help me out one more time, and I can marry into that family.
I couldn't help but laugh. Mom walked in just then and froze when she saw my cold smirk.
Then she grabbed my hand, wiping her tears as she said, Yinger's been crying all night. It's all Mom's fault. If only I were more capable, then Yinger wouldn't be without a proper necklace for her birthday. Meow, what do you think we should do?
She stole a glance at me as she spoke. My dear mother, she acts like she has no clue, always sighing and groaning and asking me for advice. But every single time, the comfort, the luxury, she never tasted a lick of hardship herself. When Dad was alive, she leaned on him. After he was gone, she waited for me to carry her. I smiled and said, I don't know either. What do you think we should do, Mom? She didn't expect that from me. She froze for a second, then turned to look at the old nursemaid beside her.
The second miss was born later than the first miss, so she had fewer years of comfort. Now that times are hard, it's hard for her to adjust.
Oh, so what's the solution? My dad's already dead. We've got no money now. Got any ideas, nursemaid? You've been with our family for so long now. With things the way they are, we can't afford your wages anymore. So starting tomorrow, maybe you shouldn't come anymore. Starting tomorrow, maybe you shouldn't come anymore. In my past life, I always felt sorry for Mom and doted on my siblings. When the family was broke, I found a way. I went out, showed my face, pawned things. And at that very pawn shop, I ran into Master Sue, who happened to be checking on his shop. He liked my looks and my temperament. He wanted me as his concubine. Mom clenched her teeth and said,
No woman from the Jung family has ever been a concubine. If I let you become one, I wouldn't have the face to see your father even in death.
But life cost money. My little brother's school fees, social niceties, all of it cost money. And Mom would just cry in front of me.
What are we going to do? What should we do?
I always said I'd figure it out. A girl barely in her teens. What could I really do? My only asset was hanging right on my body. Later, I secretly became Master Sue's woman. Not even a proper kept mistress. Finally, the household had some breathing room. I crept around, always hiding, walking on eggshells. Every time I left, I said I was going to do laundry or embroider at the silk shop. I'd come back with my hands pruned white or my fingertips pricked bloody, terrified that Mom would find out and be devastated, that she wouldn't be able to take it, that she'd fall apart. Looking back now, did she really not know? Of course she knew. Coming back for round 2, I look at this house, at how we live. Even after Dad's been gone this long, Mom still keeps the nursemaid. And there's still a hired laborer outside. Does that look like someone worried about money? Terrified of poverty? No, this is someone used to the good life. I just told the nursemaid not to come back, and my mom's face dropped instantly.
But there's so much to do, inside and out. How's it all gonna get done?
Mom, we're not rich anymore. We're broke. Just as broke as nursemaid Chen. We can't afford servants, can't pay wages, so we do everything ourselves. Every single person in this house. Not just me. You do it too, Mom. Sis does it. Even little brother does it.
Mom let out a nah. It's late. Guess we're getting up early tomorrow.
Anything else, Mom? She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. She shuffled out awkwardly. A moment later, from next door came the sound of my sister smashing a bowl.
Dad promised me that necklace. Why won't you give it to me? And Dad also promised he'd live to 100. He said he'd watch us all get married.
I closed my eyes, turned over, and grabbed whatever rest I could. Sure enough, in the middle of the night, my sister got sick. She's been like this since she was little. Whenever things don't go her way, she gets a fever, a stomachache, you name it. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. Mom praised me for being sensible, for not causing her trouble. She said my little sister was different. Not obedient, not thoughtful. But somehow that's exactly why she favored her, so much so that, in the end, for her sake, she personally drugged me. I lay there, eyes wide open, a sliver of moon hanging outside the window. My eyes stung, as if her fake tears from that past life were still burning in them. Everyone has their own fate. Everyone has their own way to live. I'm not a concubine. And I can't carry all those responsibilities and lives on my back. Knock, 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 someone at the door. Mom rushed in, panic written all over her face.
Meow, what do we do? Yinger says she's burning up. She feels awful. What should I do? Mom doesn't know what to do. We have no money right now. We still owe the pharmacy from last time. What do we do, Meow?
Still owe the pharmacy? What do we do, Meow? In my past life, I comforted Mom, gritted my teeth and said I'd go borrow money. Then I went to Master Sue. I got the money without a hitch, and even brought a doctor back with me. My sister took her medicine and fell into a sweet sleep. Mom sighed with relief and dozed off too. The doctor collected his fee and left satisfied. Only I was left in the room, washing myself with ice-cold well water, tears streaming down my face, tearing up the marriage contract. My father had left me. Then, before dawn, I went to see Master Sue alone. After that, our lives did start to get easier. Mom never asked me, "Who'd you borrow from?" How much? Right now, she's looking at me with those eager eyes, like she's just waiting for me to step up. I looked back at her, and after a moment, I laughed. Mom, you're not thinking straight. We don't have silver. If she's hot, just splash some cool water on her. Cool her down with water. Isn't that how everyone gets by?
But can't we borrow a little?
Mom, why don't you ask Uncle for some money?
Your uncle's not doing well either. How can I ask him?
Dad lent him plenty while he was alive. A little payback wouldn't hurt, would it?
You've changed. How can you say something like that?
Truth is, my sister wasn't even sick. The moment she heard about the cold, well water treatment, she threw off the extra layers. She'd hidden under her blanket. Her flushed face slowly returned to normal.
I just want what I was promised. Is that wrong?
Yinger, stop crying. It's all Mom's fault. When we have money again, I'll buy you the prettiest necklace, I promise.
Money. Where's that gonna come from? Our family's fallen. Little brother's 6 now. By the time he's 20 and can actually get a position in the clan, I'll probably already be married off, right? What use will I have for a necklace then? Mom, look at her. She's so mean.
I haven't even said the worst part yet. My little brother's actually simple-minded. When he was 3, he had a high fever. Mom didn't call for anyone. She just cried. She waited until Dad came back from his drinking, then tearfully asked him to decide and call a doctor. By then, the fever had already done its damage. In my past life, I panicked so much because I was terrified my sister would end up like my brother. But Mom never admitted there was anything wrong with him. She said he was just a late bloomer, that he talked slowly, and ate a lot, and told me not to pick on him. The day I was suffocated, before my body had even gone cold, my brother already reached into my arms and took the pastries I'd brought back. He sat beside me and ate them slowly. To him, I was just a walking vending machine who brought food on schedule. That's all I was to all of them. I turned and left the room.
Mom, is there really no money left? Then what about my coming-of-age ceremony? Sis got hers. There's no way I don't get one, right? And I saw Chuhe, and the others all bought rouge. From Chu Shuangjai, no less. What about me? Mom, don't just cry. Ask Sis what we're supposed to do.
Under my pillow, I'd hidden a few dozen coins. I was going to surprise Mom with them to show her that I could earn money too. Guess I won't be needing that anymore. Lately, I said I was going to the neighbors to embroider and do needlework, but I was actually going to Widow Lou's place on Cat Alley, washing clothes for her to earn a few coins. 2 coins for 10 pieces of laundry. My whole body ached from scrubbing. I put the money away and started carefully recalling the way things went in my past life. I remember that winter, the white blizzard swept down from the north, and the barbarians raided southward. Herbal medicine prices went through the roof. If I could get my hands on some starting capital, I could flip it 10, maybe 100 times over. The noise outside went on till late, but for the first time I slept soundly. The next morning, I pulled out the betrothal jade pendant. My father had left me. Top quality. I also took out all the other things. He'd left me. Then I counted every coin I'd saved. Not a huge sum, but not too little either. And this year, herb prices were rock bottom. Worth a shot. Not a huge sum, but not too little either. And this year, herb prices were rock bottom. Worth a shot. Mom was waiting in the main room, dark circles under her eyes.
When she saw me, she asked, "What's for breakfast today, meow?"
She was still waiting for me to handle everything like I always did. But Mom's always been the head of this house. Eat whatever you want, Mom.
Big sis! How dare you talk to Mom like that? She works so hard, every day for this family. And this is how you talk to her?
You're right, sis. Mom works hard, so you go ahead and get breakfast ready. And boil some water for her. She hasn't washed up yet, has she? I said that and walked out.
She stomped her feet behind me. Mom, look at her. So unfilial. Mom, my clothes are too short. I need new ones.
I went straight to the pawn shop to pledge the items and walked out with the cash. Didn't expect to run right into Master Su, who was checking on his shop. He froze the moment he saw me. Are you Zhang Zhengchui's daughter? Given my friendship with your father, you should call me uncle. If you ever run into trouble, feel free to come find me. I was long gone. But when I looked back, he was still stroking his beard, staring right at me. So disgusting. In my past life, I naively thought he was genuinely looking out for me out of respect for my father. Turns out he'd set the trap long ago, just waiting for me to walk right in. I spat on the ground, turned, took a few detours, and finally found the pharmacy clerk I'd known in my past life, the one who'd been falsely accused and thrown out for doing his job right, Gong Leng. I was the one who convinced Master Su to keep him on, and he was the one who at the very end helped me send that final letter to the fiancé I never met. A man with morals, with principles. When I finally found him after all those detours, he was sorting herbs downstairs, in rags. The shop manager was cursing at him, finding fault with everything. Kong Long took 2 slaps, but still insisted that even if you trimmed the rot, the medicinal properties were still off. They shouldn't be used. When things quieted down, I crouched down in front of him and handed him a clean handkerchief. I have a batch of herbs I need you to purchase for me. Would you be willing to help?
But we don't even know each other. Why do you trust me so much?
I saw you stand your ground even when you got hit. That told me you're a man of principle. I'll give you 30% of the profit. Here's the contract. Take a close look.
Thank you for trusting me. I'll do my utmost to get it done.
But the moment I got home,
Mom asked me, "Did you pawn my betrothal jade?"
word traveled fast. Not a trace of worry. Her next words were, "Where's the money?" My eyes shifted to the table beside her. 2 teacups. Someone had been here. My eyes shifted to the table beside her. 2 teacups. Someone had been here. Probably Master Su. Looks like my dear mother knew him. Much earlier than I'd ever imagined. I said I lost it.
You lost all that money? They even gave you a premium price for it. How could you lose it? Where did you lose it?
I raised an eyebrow. She seemed to catch herself and softened her tone.
Meow, we're family. If you want new clothes, rouge or powder, if your sister has it, of course I'll get it for you too. But we have so many mouths to feed, and your sister's coming of age. Outfit needs to be prepared. Her hairpin needs to be new too. You have to have a conscience. Meow, tell Mom. Where's the money?
I really lost it. Search me if you don't believe me. She actually did. Along with that nursemaid's son I hadn't fired yet. They dragged me into the room and searched me from head to toe. They even undid my hair bun to check. Naked, with my hair hanging loose, I stood in that dim room, staring out. It was September, but the chill crept up from the soles of my feet.
Mom's hand brushed my shoulder. My Meow's all grown up now.
My little brother crept up to the window, and peeked in at me. Get out. How dare you, never seen a woman before.
Mom flew into a rage on the spot and slapped me right across the face. Is that how you talk? To your little brother? He's just a kid. What does he know? You're his big sister. What's wrong with him looking? Shameful. Absolutely shameful. You've been out in the world too long. Your heart's gone wild. Lock her up. Tell your brother and sister not to give her any food until she tells us where that money is.
Nursemaid's son alone was no match for me. One shove and she went flat on her back.
Yinger, Manly, get in here and help. Hold this unfilial daughter down.
The other two were useless too. One slap each, and before I could even speak, crash! A searing pain exploded at the back of my head. My mom had smashed the stool in her hands. I hit the ground. Crash! Pain at the back of my head. My mom smashed the stool. I collapsed.
This is mutiny. Tie this unfilial brat up now.
So my dear mother could get physical too. Didn't see that coming. They tied me up and tossed me in the woodshed. I went a full day and night without food.
My little sister sat outside, smacking her lips over her meal, eating with relish. You brought this on yourself. Serves you right for always bossing me around. Now you don't get a bite. Starve, you deserve it.
My mom took nursemaid's son and went to see Widow Liu. They figured since I knew Widow Liu, she must have swindled the money. The Jings were out of line, falsely accusing someone of fraud. From today on, I want nothing to do with your family. She said she was cutting ties with us. My mom, the coward, didn't even dare to talk back. She even had nursemaid's son bring a cup of tea to Widow Liu, saying they should all keep things civil.
Widow Liu scoffed. Real respectable folks don't sell off their daughters. Your late husband was a scholar, and you're sending his beloved eldest daughter, already betrothed, off to be a concubine?
She drew out the words loud and clear, clearly meant for me to hear, a warning. His beloved eldest daughter, already betrothed, off to be a concubine. She drew out the words loud and clear, clearly meant for me to hear, a warning. So that's why they'd been bringing me one meal a day. That was their real plan all along.
Master Su is taking her as a proper high-status concubine. Besides, my Miao's arrangement wasn't even a real betrothal. That childhood sweetheart was just a childhood joke. He's been up north all these years. Not a word from him. Am I supposed to let a silly promise ruin my daughter's whole life? If you can cash in on your own daughter, then why accuse me of taking your money? You need proof to call someone a thief. Same goes for adultery. If you've got no evidence, shut your mouth. If you spread another rumor, I'll hang myself on your doorstep tonight.
The shouting outside was lively, and from the woodshed I caught every word. When it was finally over,
my mom came into the woodshed. Do you want to marry properly, or marry quietly? The family really has no other choice. We haven't had white rice all year. Just mixed grains and rough rice to get by. Just mixed grains and rough rice to get by. By winter, we won't even have money for a single new padded coat. We've pawned just about everything we can, but people still need to keep up appearances. Meow. I can tell Master Su genuinely likes you. He's asked about you several times. He says he'll treat you well. Mom only wants what's best for you.
my father's mourning period isn't even over yet.
Filial piety is about sincerity of heart. As long as you nod, everything else can be arranged.
What kind of arrangements? You mean sneaking around? Being a nameless mistress for over 2 years? I raised my swollen hands, wiped the blood from my bruised lip. Why don't you untie me first? Then I'll actually believe you want what's best for me. Master Su's gifts kept arriving nonstop. The household's food and clothes improved a lot. Mom's brow started to relax. They spent every cent that came in. Even my freeloading uncle started showing up again, calling sis this and sis that.
My little sister got new clothes. And a new necklace, too. She'd swish it around as she came to talk me into marrying.
Think about it, dear sister. If I marry Master Su as his concubine, and someday you fall for his son, what would you do then? If I marry Master Su as his concubine, and someday you fall for his son, what would you do then?
Leave yourself some room. You never know. Like I'd ever fall for his son. With a face like that, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Master Su would occasionally send someone to take my little brother out with the gifts. He loved going along. There was always good food. Mom, nursemaid, son. My brother's not all there. He mimics everything. You let him follow that old Su around. Aren't you worried he'll pick up bad habits? Nursemaid, talk some sense into her.
Your brother's not stupid. He's just a late bloomer. It's good for him to see more of the world with Master Su.
I couldn't even be bothered to remind her. In my past life, my brother figured out things he shouldn't have. In broad daylight, naked, chasing nursemaid's son around with a whip.
Miss Meow should worry. About her own wounds first. So much money spent on medicine, and they still won't heal.
My mom bought me the best medicine, applied it every day, waiting for the bruises on my body and face to heal completely. So I could go see Master Sue.
Lately, I don't know why, medicine prices have gone up again. Meow, why is your wound still bleeding?
It wasn't even time for the prices to spike yet. That'd be another 2 months when the white blizzards hit. Maybe you tied the bandages too tight, Mom? Not letting it breathe. The meeting with Master Sue was set for the Winter Clothing Festival. That day, every household sends winter clothes to the dead. Master Sue would have a carriage waiting along our route to the ancestral graves. After Mom bathed and braided my hair, she took me in a separate carriage. Outside, the wind and rain picked up. Passersby wore bamboo hats, too busy to notice anyone else. Inside the carriage,
She whispered her words of wisdom from her own experience. To calm my nerves, she'd even prepared warm wine. She told me how to use it, how to be gentle and coy, how to act shy and bashful, how to make a man want more.
but she didn't know. Master Sue wasn't into any of that. He preferred his whip. Master Sue wasn't into any of that. He preferred his whip. The only reason I lasted with him so long wasn't because he was devoted. It was because I was tough to kill.
Mom brought the wine cup to my lips, her other hand pinching my chin. Just a sip, one sip. Mom only wants what's best for you.
I pressed my lips together and stared at her. She looked at me for a moment, then unlocked the shackles on my feet.
She squeezed my cheeks hard. Just one sip. I don't want you to suffer. One day you'll understand. Everything I do is for you.
I opened my mouth. The wine went in. My mom smiled faintly.
Meow, this fine medicine.
I lunged forward and pinned her down. I shoved her against the carriage floor and shoved that wine right back down her throat.
She coughed and spluttered. You.
A crow feeds its mother in return. A lamb kneels to nurse. You teach me good things, Mom. Shouldn't you get the first taste? She opened her mouth to scream, but I grabbed her head and smashed it against the floor. She went out cold. Then I gave her back her shackles and stuffed a handkerchief in her mouth. Only then did I lift the rear curtain and jump off the carriage. When I showed up ragged and bruised at Gong Lang's shabby out-of-the-way home, he stared in shock for a moment, then brought over his best stool. As soon as he snapped out of it, he pulled out the purchase list. Miss Jiang, here's the inventory. This is the contract, and the latest from the herb market. Prices have already shot up tenfold. Just waiting for you to decide when to sell. I'm leaving right away. I took the handkerchief and wiped my face. I'll go myself. The herbs, as planned, will be shipped out as a decoy, but actually stored in a small town up north. That's the only city in my memory that never fell to the invaders. Gong Lang was stunned. But, I reached out and patted his shoulder. I'm a year older than you. Call me Big Sis. No risk, no reward. These herbs were bought cheap. If we move them right, this is our comeback. Family fights together. Brothers take down the tiger. How could I let you go into danger alone? When do we leave? At first light. Outside, the wind and rain raged. Half of Gong Lang's house was leaking. Half the house was leaking. After I changed and tied my hair back, he was still scrambling to catch rain in a broken clay pot. I suddenly remembered Widow Lu's house was probably leaking too. She'd caught a chill a couple days ago. Mom and nursemaid's son had even gossiped about it with glee. I asked Gong Lang if he had any silver left. He pried open a hidden compartment in the wall, full of loose copper coins. As we were about to leave the city, I climbed over the wall, wrapped a pouch of copper coins in a handkerchief, and left it under Widow Lu's windowsill. From inside came her coughing.
The moment I set it down, a voice called out, "Who's there?"
I had no choice but to whisper back, "It's me."
She opened the door, took one look at me, in my disguise, and understood. She nodded, approval in her eyes. You should have left long ago. Going to find your fiancé?
I shook my head. If you can't even count on your own mother, then how can you count on a childhood sweetheart? I'm going to try my hand at some business.
Widow Lu coughed a couple more times. Wait for me. She went back inside.
Wait for me. She went back inside.
Under the bedboard beneath her pillow, she felt around and pulled out a small box. From it, she took 2 chunks of silver. She said they were for me to use on the road.
When I refused,
She said to consider it an investment. She glanced back at her 2 kids, sleeping so peacefully. If it weren't for these 2 little ones, I'd go with you. Miss Meow, you're a clever, capable girl. Your mother doesn't know gold when she sees it. She's only worried about the next meal and would throw you away for it. But I know you'll make something of yourself. Your big sis here ain't got much talent, just some brute strength. Don't think too little of this. When you're traveling, money talks. A woman on her own's got it even harder.
But she was a woman too, raising 2 kids alone. Her nails were loosened from all that scrubbing. This was her blood, sweat, and tears. In the end, I turned it down. Dawn broke. The moment the city gates opened, Gong Lang and I, disguised with our packs, slipped into the stream of people leaving the city. At the same time, I spotted that same carriage from before, coming back with the incoming crowd. Hooves clattered. The curtain fluttered, carrying that cloying scent, the smell of wealth my mom used to talk about. Inside, a flash of pale skin slipped past the curtain. A flash of pale skin slipped past. I jerked my head back around. My shoulder bag felt heavier than before. I pressed my hand against it. Only then did I realize Widow Lu had slipped those silver chunks back in, and a handkerchief she'd embroidered herself. Even my hardened heart softened a little. We headed north out of the city. Following the caravan route I'd chosen, everything went smoothly. Gong Lang didn't hide his admiration. Meow. Big bro, how did you know to pick this route? 10 other routes all ran into trouble. But we've been smooth sailing the whole way? Guess we got lucky. Gong Lang sighed again. The 2 shopkeepers you recommended were great too. No attitude at all, they didn't look down on us. The white blizzards hadn't hit yet. But barbarian raiders were already trickling south to harass. The city of Bing was slowly starting to buzz, more refugees and folks seeking shelter, because it was the closest to the Wanchao Pass of the Cheng Dynasty, the most stable stronghold in the north. We navigated through Bing City. That month, we made good progress in the city. That month, we made good progress. The herbs we'd bought earlier were stored in different locations. We sold half and already broke even, and made a decent profit too. Whatever we did with the rest, we'd win big. With this capital, I used part of it to buy 2 types of seeds to stockpile. After next spring's minor locust plague, these seeds would be invaluable. Another part I wasn't sure about yet. Gong Lang suggested we buy some furs to take back. In winter, the nobles in the capital loved furs. 1 top-quality piece could fetch 100 gold. But finding top-quality stuff wasn't easy. Gong Lang checked several places and got turned down. They said a big buyer from the capital had locked everything up. They were coming to pick it up in 2 months. By then, the foxes and lambs would be at their plumpest, and they wanted the freshest, best furs. But in 2 months, the war would be in full swing. Even the finest furs wouldn't sell once they shipped in. They'd all become worthless. Furs that once went for 10 gold could be had for a few dozen coppers. And from what I remembered, Bing province would never fall. My heart started racing. If I can pull this off, I'd be set for life. If I can pull this off, I'd be set for life. No risk, no reward. People lie, money doesn't. We're staying. Half a month later, herb prices skyrocketed overnight. Chaos started brewing in the city too. Gong Lang and I didn't have deep roots. We'd bought a few people from the market, but you can't read what's in a man's heart. I didn't trust a single one of them. The herbs I held onto, I'd disguised and stored in several cellars. Even Gong Lang didn't know the actual locations. As soon as word went out that one of the cellars was up for sale, the price went up by the time we left. When Gong Lang went to negotiate, it was different. By the time he came back to finalize, it had changed again. My herbs were good quality, and the price wasn't outrageous. Right at the restaurant where we were about to close the deal, a bunch of gatecrashers showed up. The first was Master Su's beloved second son, Su Cheng. In my past life, my sister killed me for him. He was dressed in finery, flanked by 2 stewards and 2 servants, full of swagger. Flanked by 2 stewards and 2 servants, full of swagger. The client I'd been talking to got brushed aside by him. He sat at the long table, tea in one hand, sizing me up with a lazy glance. So this is the famous Boss Jiang? Not quite what I pictured. Boss, hardly. I'm just a humble errand boy. In business, the most important thing is knowing how to talk big. Using intel from my past life, I'd cooked up a backstory as a steward's relative of some idle nobleman in the capital. Not too big, not too small, just enough to be useful. Su Cheng's flirtatious eyes swept across my neck with a half smile. Then he promptly made an offer, tempting enough to make me pause. 30% more for Boss Jiang. 2% extra on the volume. We'll handle the shipping. Deal? A price bump was normal. But extra volume and free shipping too? And they'd handle transport? Suddenly, I remembered my past life. When war broke out in the north, herbs were in short supply. Cities sending reinforcements paid top dollar to scrape together supplies. A huge shipment of urgently needed medicine was sent north to aid General Zhenbei, but it was ambushed by barbarians en route. Not a single herb got through. Ambushed by barbarians en route. Not a single herb got through. Because of that, wounded soldiers went untreated, and morale plummeted. Now, looking at that face again, I understood everything. Another collusion between crooked merchants and corrupt officials. This batch would probably net him 10 times what he paid. I looked at him. He looked back at me completely at ease. Just like in my past life, at Master Su's estate, I was bathing inside. He stood outside the screen. He asked how I'd hooked his father so bad he forgot home and made his mother depressed. I told him to go ask his dad. He slowly sliced through the screen with his sword. I'm asking you. Through the torn screen, I leaned back in the tub, didn't flinch. Just waited for his blade. My bare shoulder was covered in bruises and scars. He stood there staring for a moment. Then he warned me. Don't bother scheming. You'll never set foot in the Su family. The main Su line is nobility in the capital. Not every woman gets to climb that high. The main Su line is nobility in the capital. Not every woman gets to climb that high. And then came my sister's part in it all. This man was vicious, charming, and ruthless. Faking a herb shipment was right up his alley. I smiled faintly. Seems like a good deal. Let me think it over. Su Cheng smiled too. Then I'll give you one day, little Mr. Jiang. He stood up, leaned in close. You won't find a more generous buyer. And even if you walk away with all that silver, in times like these, with chaos all around, and you sticking out like a sore thumb, think you'll get out in one piece? He straightened up. The earlier buyer stepped out and immediately scurried after him. The second buyer was much more straightforward, much more blunt, dressed like a traveling merchant, flashing cash. So straightforward it was almost rude. He said he could pay cash or trade me premium furs instead. He swore the furs were the same quality as the ones being shipped to the capital. Enough to make me a fortune. Enough to make me a fortune. Once they bought the herbs, I just had to give them an address, and they'd pick up the goods themselves. Sounded perfect. A surefire moneymaker. Even Gong Lang was tempted. As soon as the guy left, he immediately asked me, "Why didn't you say yes right away?" Big bro, why not? If the furs come in, we could head south right away. Save us the anxiety. I raised my hand, signaling him to be quiet. The third buyer had already walked in. This one wore a hood, brim pulled low. Clothes were worn and shabby. Looked like he had no money at all. When he lifted his head, he had a handsome face. But his expression was stern, lethal. Not a merchant's face. He cut straight to the chase. He wanted all my herbs. At market price. Could go higher too. But no cash up front? Just an IOU. Gong Lang asked warily. Why should we trust you? The man reached out. His calloused palm pushed forward. A seal stamp with the IOU. Freshly healed wounds marked his hand. Freshly healed wounds marked his hand. This, he only commanded fewer than 50 men. But the seal bore the mark of the colonel of rapid cavalry under General Zhenbei. Gong Lang spoke up. You heard the prices just now. Market rate is, he replied patiently. The rear lines are stretched thin. Herb prices are skyrocketing. The imperial supply shipments haven't come through. The colonel authorized this mission. His superior came out to gather supplies. We can't offer the top price. But once we crush the northern barbarians, you'll be rewarded. Paid in full. By the end, his voice dropped softer. We're all subjects of the Cheng dynasty. Our soldiers are bleeding out there. Isn't that worth a little silver? If the barbarians break through, sweep south, take Bing City, Wanchao Pass will be undefended. All your silver, little boss. Just a feast for the wolves. Gong Lang turned to look at me. I studied the writing. I couldn't help but reach for the letter. The handwriting felt strange yet familiar. Strange yet familiar. It was my never-met fiancé's, Pei Zhang's handwriting. I looked up again. This squad leader looked familiar too. Right, it was him. In my past life, after I became Master Su's woman, I'd sent him a letter, calling off the engagement. Pichao had sent a one-armed, trusted soldier to deliver a reply. Along with it, a pearl hairpin. The letter was short, torn from a book page. Probably. Bold, steady strokes. He said he'd been too late to propose. Had wasted my time. Only wished me well for the rest of my life. That one-armed soldier had dried blood still smeared on his face. Clearly, he'd traveled hard and fast. Non-stop. He silently handed me the letter. However long I stared at it. He stood there that long. I asked him, how is young Master Pei? The soldier paused. He's good. He hopes you're well, too. Then he turned and left, without even a sip of water. That soldier's stern face and this squad leader's slowly merged into one. That stern face and this one slowly merged. My heart stirred. Back then, Peijang was in the north, working as an army scribe. Their garrison was at Wancheng, the forward pass of Bing province. I'd heard the general's vanguard had broken through recently, and were seeking reinforcements from each city. So the one sent to Wancheng must be this colonel. War feels different when it's distant, versus when it's right in front of you. I pressed my hand on the IOU, silent. The squad leader clearly had no experience in business. Seeing my silence, he took it as a no. The tension in the room was thick. He reached for his sword hilt, but slowly let it go. How much silver do you want? He looked like he was holding back. Our men are dying out there. Supplies and medicine crawl at a snail's pace. And you people are still profiting off the war? Aren't you afraid of karma? I don't want money. I looked up at him. His voice caught. It took him a second. How much? But whether you get it depends on you. How much? But whether you get it depends on you. We stepped out of the restaurant. People hurried past on both sides. Many looked hungry, carrying the elderly and young. Gonglang caught up with me, walking alongside. He looked like he wanted to say something, but didn't. He didn't get why I agreed. With chaos coming, of course you'd want to save yourself first. We weren't the only ones profiting off the war. Look at the Su family. They'd been scheming all along. They'd even set up a pawn shop right by the gate, waiting to bleed the refugees dry. Street vendors were gossiping about General Zhenbei, losing 2 cities up north. Jiao City was about to fall too. They'd sent messengers begging for help everywhere. But closer to the capital, it was all royal and noble kids defending. The moment those generals smelled trouble, they only looked out for themselves. Not only did they refuse to move, they even petitioned the court, blaming the general for not fighting hard enough. Passing the buck early, they'd probably break through sooner or later. Sighs all around. I figured that's why the squad leader came to buy herbs under the table. That's why he came, to buy herbs under the table. Jiao City sent for help. The Wancheng commander wouldn't send troops, but some in power were sympathetic. So they sent people to help buy herbs disguised as using the seal of the Bing cavalry commander. Was this man Peijang? My thoughts were interrupted by the smell of fresh steamed buns from a roadside stall. I bought a few buns, 2 for Gonglang, 1 in my hand. A ragged boy, maybe 7 or 8, kept following us, swallowing hard. I glanced at Gonglang. He handed the bun to the kid. The boy froze. He barely got out half a thanks before breaking it in 2. He wolfed down half in one gulp, then clutched the other half and ran off. Refugees with hungry faces filled every corner. From afar, I saw him hand the other half to a gray-haired woman. Gonglang sighed. He wanted to buy more buns. If the front lines collapse, no amount of buns will be enough. A drop in the bucket. That's why I'm giving the herbs to him. That's why I'm giving the herbs to them. In times of chaos, life is cheap. For women, it's even harder. If all I have is money, that's not enough to survive. I need something else too. I called over the attendant behind me. I sent them to find the second buyer. Tell them I'm ready to deliver. Sure enough, late that night, those disguised guests showed up as promised. I asked first, where's the money? The leader tossed a pouch, heavy with silver. I immediately pointed to the table behind me. 2 men moved the long table aside. Sure enough, there was a cellar beneath. After confirming the herbs were there, the leader let out a cold laugh. He looked at me like I was already dead. Next second, he drew his blade. But before his sword could reach me, the whistle of an arrow sliced through the air. It pierced his throat. I dropped and rolled. Moments later, the squad leader and his men, who'd been lying in wait, had taken care of the fake merchants. They were indeed northern barbarians in disguise. Northern barbarians in disguise. They were carrying plenty of oil. Looks like they planned to kill and burn everything. When did you figure out who they were? Their boots. These men had changed into Qing Dynasty clothes. They could even mimic the accent. But their boots, still northern barbarian leather. Those specially made ones with tiny barbs on the soles. They hooked into flesh like fish hooks. Humiliating and painful. Plus, every single one had marks from removing their thumb rings. I framed the intel from my past life, as if I'd gotten it from these dead men. I laid it all out for the squad leader. He was stunned. So the main force is actually heading to Wancheng, not Jiao City, where the barbarians are focusing their attack. He processed it in a heartbeat. It all clicked. Urgency flashed across his face. Mr. Jiang, this is a great service. I tucked away the IOU, picked up the pouch, took my share, gave the rest to him. Why? I'm a businesswoman. This is an investment. It's a small contribution to the war effort. But I'd like to think that when the general hands out rewards, maybe there's a commendation or a letter of passage. Makes traveling the north easier, right? For the first time, he asked me seriously. May I ask your name, Jiang Miao? He looked up sharply. A slight pause. For the first time, he really looked at me. My courtesy name, given by my father, is Shen Wei. Shen Wei? You sound like you're from Yanzhou. His companions were urging him from outside. They'd bribed the city gate guards. Time was tight. He nodded, until we meet again. The thundering hooves faded into the distance. If used right, the intel I gave could change the fate of Wancheng, even the entire north. In my past life, Wancheng held the barbarians back, at the cost of half its people. In the end, General Zhenbei counterattacked and won a major victory, preserving Zhao City. A great victory, preserved Zhao City. That's the best I could do, for Wancheng and the north. But this time around, I couldn't be sure that, with the intel changed, Zhao City might still fall. So at dawn the next day, I packed my bags. Gonglang and I prepared to leave. To stay safe, we'd still travel with the caravan and escort convoy. As we finished packing, we ran into that boy we'd given the bun to. He was waiting by the gate with his mom. When he saw me come out, he ran over and kowtowed. He said he wanted to sell himself to me as a servant. He looked up at me with big eyes, said he could read a little, could do all kinds of things. His mother was gentle and proper. She quickly said she could wash clothes and cook well. She tried to stifle her cough, forcing her frail body to stand straight, pretending to be healthy, just to give her son a way out. In the end, I left them some money. I told them both to stay. This is for your mother's medicine. This is for your daily needs. For the rest, if her prices drop later, go to that shop on Changmen Street, Manager Hu's place, and buy some. And whatever's left, use it to help those in need. And whatever's left, use it to help those in need. We didn't go home. Instead, we headed straight to the capital. The bustling capital. No matter how chaotic the border towns got, it was still all song and dance here. That winter, the white blizzards hit the north. The fighting was brutal. In the end, just like before. Actually, much better than before. They not only held Zhao City, but Wancheng and Bingzhou too, all firmly in General Zhenbei's hands. This time, he didn't lose his sight. Didn't chop off his fingers begging for help. By year's end, the capital was buzzing, with legends of his brilliant tactics. They said he'd gained a strategist, called the Little Zhuge, could predict the future. Indispensable. This time, the people didn't become refugees. Naturally, fur prices didn't crash either. Su Cheng, who'd been waiting in Zhao City to scoop up bargains, lost a fortune. And because the Zhenbei army had scattered the barbarians early, the herbs he'd overpaid for sat rotting in his hands. The noble contact in the capital wouldn't lift a finger. The Su family sent messengers to the main branch in the capital, but got nowhere. Got nowhere. I quietly fanned the flames a bit more. I took the list of corrupt officials from my past life and shot it into the censor's mansion that night. It caused quite a stir. The Su family had to pay a huge sum just to make it go away. Thanks to the seeds I'd stocked in spring, I sold them at just the right time. Built up enough capital, had money to stockpile even more. In my past life, every day felt like a year. But every single moment of memory became my greatest asset in this life. Buying low, selling high. It was almost supernatural. Not huge volumes, but every single move paid off. Gonglang grew fast. He became my right-hand man. Most of the external deals went through him. By the second spring, I'd already bought 2 small courtyards in the capital. Days flowed by, peaceful, comfortable. On the Shaanxi festival, I ran into that old acquaintance from Jiao City, the squad leader. He said his name was Pei Jizhen. Clothes make the man. Back then, he looked ragged. Now in fine robes, he looked completely different. Carried a scholarly air too. Quite the gentleman. The moment he walked into my herbal shop, he caught the eyes of several young ladies nearby. Caught the eyes of several young ladies nearby. He said he was in the capital on business. We hit it off surprisingly well. He invited me out several days in a row. With his help and connections, I reconnected with old contacts in Zhao City, made another tidy profit on furs. After Zhao City was saved, fur prices didn't drop. But Pei Jizhen had gotten his hands on a batch of captured furs. Exactly the kind the capital merchants had been after, banned northern barbarian goods. He said these furs were like the herb money I'd given him. Small spoils of war, only fair to share. I never say no to money. Took it without a second thought. Pei Jizhen was quite something. Being in the military, he had a cynical streak. But also because of it, when he got serious, he could be intimidating. He told great stories too. Quite the raconteur. The day the money came in, he made me treat him to a drink. Lightly buzzed. Warm spring sun. The street was bustling. He had a cup. Then poured me one. He suddenly sighed. I love this kind of lively bustle. He suddenly sighed. I love this kind of lively bustle. If you like it so much, you can stay a few more days and soak it in. In a few days, the peach blossoms at Baogo Temple should be blooming. The flowers outside Jiao City's walls are about to bloom too. Green grasslands. Creeping chrysanthemums everywhere. Golden yellow like the sun, Boss Jiang. Want to go see them? I tapped the pastry in my hand. But I prefer the capital's noise. Safe and bustling. Blend in, like a fish in water. He fell silent. After several days together, we'd spent a lot of time together. A former scout, he noticed everything. He'd seen through my disguise long ago. Probably figured out who I really was too. We were both smart enough. Asking that far was enough. In the silence, he raised his cup. Drained it in one go. I'd asked him once if there was a fellow named Pei in Wancheng. He hadn't answered back then. But today, as we wrapped up, he suddenly brought it up. Remember that Pei Zhang you mentioned? Remember that Pei Zhang you mentioned? He's actually dead. He set his cup down firmly, smiled, and left. I never saw Pei Zhang again after that. After that, I put my energy into my business. I aimed for steady, not spectacular. Always some income. Quietly getting rich. Unexpectedly, I'd built up several branches. My mom was right about one thing. I do have a talent for making money. But in my past life, all I earned was just small change. Scrimping and saving. Pinching every penny. And then they'd blow it all without a second thought. After the Dragon Boat Festival, Gong Lang started worrying about his mother. He talked to me about bringing his widowed mother to the capital. He never came back. I waited over a month. I sent a letter asking. But instead of a reply, officers from Qin County came to arrest me. I knew the city patrol well. But the officer had a formal arrest warrant, and my identity was indeed questionable. I had no choice but to turn myself in. Even though I was wealthy now, the moment they found out I was a woman, and my maternal family came for me, I'd have no way out. Money couldn't fix this. They kept saying they were looking for the Jiang family's abducted daughter. That's when I found out Gong Lang was being held in Qin County. The Su family had been searching everywhere. They found traces of him and me, and pinned a crime on him. They falsely accused him of kidnapping a good family's daughter. Gong Lang had been in jail for a month, tortured mercilessly, but he never gave me up. If I hadn't sent that letter, they wouldn't have known where I was. I sighed. I called the steward over. Had him buy a few fast horses. Better ride back. Get there faster. Money talks. Soon I learned the whole story. After I left, not long after, my mom and Master Su's affair became the talk of the town. She had no choice but to marry him as a concubine. She took the place that was meant for me. My sister Zhangyin also kicked up a fuss and changed her last name. She joined the Su family. My sister Zhangyin also kicked up a fuss and changed her last name. She joined the Su family. She wanted to be the spoiled young lady of a wealthy family. In the beginning, Master Su spent money on them too. All that wealth my mom kept going on and on about. It all seemed to have landed right on them, but soon enough, Master Su lost interest in my mom. Their days started getting rough. Then my mom started looking for me. She searched over and over, even went to Widow Lu's place. Knelt at her door. Widow Lu cursed her out and sent her packing. After half a year or so, she'd given up hope. My mom was losing hope too. But just then, the Su family's merchant second son came home. He casually mentioned that the new concubine and her daughter looked a lot like a little shopkeeper he'd met. My mom took note of that. I always said she was sharp. She and that old bald man put two and two together, and sure enough, Master Su found the breadcrumbs. Eventually, they traced it to Gong Lang. Gong Lang seemed like a nobody, but look closer, he had some means. Master Su and his bot. County magistrate both got greedy. Master Su and his bot. County magistrate both got greedy.
My mom wept in the courthouse. She said she was taking me back to live a good life.
Even a dog wouldn't buy that. Before I left, besides getting 2 minor officials in the capital, I had some connections with to vouch for me. I also sent the fastest courier to deliver a letter to Jiao City. Pei Zhijian's influence might not be enough, so I included that IOU along with it. With that IOU, the now promoted Marquis Zhenbei would owe me a favor. That was no small thing. Besides, all I asked for was a commendation to keep me alive and a few men to back me up and take care of some lackeys. We rode hard back to Qin County. At the 10-mile pavilion outside the county, I ran into an unexpected guest first. Soochung, what a surprise. That day I noticed you had no Adam's apple. I thought you were a young eunuch from the palace. Never thought you'd be a young lady. He smirked. Later, when I went looking for you, all I found was an empty room. I asked around. No one knew who you really were. No one knew who you really were. You left in such a hurry. Almost got me in trouble. Master Su, even if a deal falls through, goodwill remains. It was just a batch of herbs. No need to chase me this far, is there? If you want to do business, there'll be plenty of chances later. His eyes flickered. He nudged his horse forward 2 steps. Miss Amiao, so formal. I feel like we've met before. Forget the herbs. Would you be interested in a much more interesting deal with me? This time he wanted me to sell myself. He said his father wasn't an easy man. He'd had his eye on me for a while. My mom was just a stand-in. If I went back to the Su family, I'd be walking right into the lion's den. So better to jump into yours instead. I'm protecting you. Better off with me than with some old geezer. And I don't hit people. I was about to ride off. He raised an eyebrow. Don't regret this. I never give anyone a second chance. A sharp, sinister laugh came from above. My backup had arrived. My backup had arrived. I squeezed my horse. Funny, I never regret anything. Back at the county courthouse. Court was immediately in session. Bailiffs stood on both sides. Master Su stood below. His eyes lit up the moment he saw me. He straightened his clothes. A wave of disgust rose in me.
My mom knelt in the middle of the hall, sobbing. When she saw me, she tried to lunge.
I sidestepped. Knelt below the dais, stated my name.
My mom kept crying. She pointed at Gong Lang, covered in blood. This is my poor, suffering daughter. She was abducted by this man. We have the evidence now. Your Honor, please do justice for me.
She wept bitterly, but there was no real grief in her eyes. I watched her in silence. When she'd cried enough, I asked, "And you are, ma'am?"
She froze. I'm your mother. Your own mother!
My mother is Jiang Shashi. You, ma'am, seem to be Su Shashi.
She was speechless.
My name is still on the Jiang family registry. She'd remarried. She could no longer control me. She'd remarried. She could no longer control me.
She immediately burst into loud sobs. But, don't you remember me, Amiao? You can't do this! I carried you for 9 months. Gave birth to you after 10 months. I was in labor for a whole day and night. And this is how you treat me?
The magistrate frowned. Silence. Master Su shot him a look. He didn't even glance back. He only looked out of the corner of his eye behind him.
The people below didn't notice. The bailiffs behind the magistrate had been replaced. Those 2 men had stern faces. A natural authority. Clearly military men. I felt a little relief.
The magistrate cleared his throat. Jiang Miao's point is valid.
Master Su couldn't help rubbing his fingers together. He prompted Magistrate Meng.
The magistrate slammed his gavel. Silence. Are you telling me how to do my job?
No, of course not.
Since I am a Jiang daughter, she has no say in the matter.
No sooner had he said that,
My sister, kneeling behind my mom, also started shouting, "She's not even a Su daughter, so I'm not either. I'm a Jiang daughter too, so I'm not either. I'm a Jiang daughter too. Your Honor, do justice for me too. I want to be a Jiang daughter too."
My mom told her to shut up.
She only screamed louder.
the onlookers murmured. No one knew what my sister was going on about. But I knew exactly why. It was for that good-for-nothing Sue's second son. With a mind like hers, once a man got in, there was no room for anything else. In my past life, it was love at first sight for them. Su Cheng barely had to lift a finger. My sister was head over heels. This time around, same old routine.
I want to be a Jiang daughter, Your Honor. It was all my mother's doing. She forced me into the Su family for wealth. Please, Your Honor, do right by me.
My mom was furious, too. Shut up. If you hadn't been whining about our poverty, would I have married into the Su family? It was all so you could have a good life. Now that you've had your fill, you'd abandon your own mother. For a man.
Mom, what are you talking about? Mom, what are you saying? Her face flushed red.
My mom got even angrier. I'm lying. My whole life I've been keeping this family's dignity. And you? You think I don't know? This is all for that Su's second son. Just like before.
Jang Yin's face turned crimson, but under everyone's gaze, she could only deny it, said it wasn't true.
My mom shot back. If that's not the case, then you already chose to break ties with me. You chose to follow me. So stay put in the Su family.
My sister froze, then burst into tears. Mom, how could you? First you dragged Jiang Miao down. Now it's my turn? Does my suffering make you happy?
Shut up. This is the filial piety I taught you. Your mother is still struggling. While you kids only think about comfort. Where in this world?
Bang! The gavel came down again. disrupting the court. This is outrageous. Drag them out and beat them. The magistrate paused. He glanced at the bailiff beside him, then ventured cautiously, 20 lashes.
As my sister was being dragged away, my case came up.
My mom didn't dare move. My mom didn't dare move. She recited her nonsense like a script, saying Gonglang abducted me, took me to the border. No matchmaker, no betrothal. It was an elopement. She demanded Gonglang pay compensation, all his assets seized. Second, even though I'm a Zhang daughter, this involved Qin County's dignity. Better to send me to a nunnery. Cut off all worldly desires. As for which nunnery, she had a suggestion. The one near the Su family villa? Bayun Nunnery. That way, when I miss her, I can still look after her. She's heartless to me, but she's still flesh of my flesh. I can't be cold to her.
Bayan Nunnery was near the Sioux estate. Practically private Sioux property. So that's where they were heading. The crowd buzzed with whispers. Gonglang managed to argue back. We didn't elope.
Not eloping? Then why go north? Why not come back to Qin County? And why hide in the capital?
I left because the woman who used to be my mother tried to break my betrothal for money. According to the law, if the woman's side breaks it, they must return the betrothal gifts, or face 60 lashes. If the woman's side breaks it, they must return the gifts, or face 60 lashes.
My mom sneered. Just childish talk. What betrothal?
I handed over the pawn ticket from that day. It clearly listed the betrothal items.
Words aren't proof. Even if you really went north for that, who's to say you didn't do something reckless out there? Else how'd you get all that silver? And enough to pay Gonglang? To bring his mother? You're so rich now, Zhang Miao. Your own mother is still suffering. Yet you go and take care of someone else's mom.
I earned it through business.
Earned? How? A woman like you? Zhang Miao, you didn't... She made an exaggerated face. Your Honor, I beg you to send her to the nunnery right away. I can't even bring myself to ask.
Gonglang coughed from the floor, furious. I looked up at the magistrate and the figure behind the screen. You're already here, my lord. You've been listening to this farce long enough. Won't you testify for this humble woman? Won't you testify for me? A laugh came from behind. Boss Zhang was so eloquent. I was hoping to hear more of your business wisdom, but fine. A sleeve appeared first. Then a tall, handsome young man stepped out. A slight smile on his handsome face. It was Page Zen. He was the one who came, dressed in fine robes and jade belt, doing pretty well for himself. Before I could speak,
My mom cut in. This man is testifying? He can't.
The magistrate's face darkened. Why not? My mum answered.
This man came to Qin County looking for A Miao before. They're obviously in cahoots. Who knows if he's not Zhang Miao's lover?
I froze. He'd come looking for me himself? So the pastries he brought in the capital weren't just picked up on a whim. He'd brought them all the way from Qin County. Pei Jizhen looked innocent. I had a mission that passed through Qin County. I did stop by in plain clothes, but Miss Zhang wasn't home then, so we didn't meet.
My mom jumped in. See? I told you. Did you hear that, Your Honor?
He was passing through, on a mission.
She wasn't satisfied. Even passing through, he came to see her. Something's fishy. She wasn't satisfied. Even passing through, he came to see her. Something's fishy. They must have known each other before.
He smiled. Miss Miao and I are indeed old acquaintances.
The magistrate immediately chimed in. You heard that? They're old acquaintances.
My mom immediately put on a pitiful act. Miao. How have I taught you all these years? She wailed and tried to sling mud at me.
But Pei Jizhen let out a cold laugh. He directly produced the commendation from the Marquis Zhenbei, a scroll, an official copy, issued directly by the court. And right there in bold, Zhang Miao. Next, Pei Jizhen gave a passionate account of my deeds in the north. He also affirmed Gonglang's contributions. The whole room erupted. His two attendants immediately came down and helped Gonglang sit up. Gonglang's elderly mother tottered over, silently wiped her son's wounds. I seized the moment. I presented several letters of guarantee from the capital.
The magistrate started sweating again.
My mom's jaw dropped. She turned to stare at Master Su. My mom's jaw dropped. She turned to stare at Master Su.
And the Zhang family, who'd been acting weak and going with the wind, suddenly found their backbone. They started shouting outside, claiming they were backing me up. As always, they sided with whoever was winning. Once you succeed, people will sympathize. The crowd outside raised their voices. So the cheap seeds in spring were from Miss Zhang too. I knew it. A concubine from the Su family, suddenly caring about Miss Zhang. She wasn't like this before. So unfair. Turns out it was all for money. Tsk. What wouldn't she do for money? Remember what happened before? Her daughter was already betrothed, and she was going to send her off as a concubine. To an old geezer. No wonder Jiang Miao ran. Poor Jiang Miao. Stuck with a mother like that? The murmurs were just loud enough. Everyone inside could hear them.
The magistrate turned to my mum. Is this true?
She stammered. Well, I'd heard that. Her fiancé was dead. He used to write every other month. Then 4 months with nothing. I panicked. I was just looking out for her letters.
I was taken aback. I never received any letters. I was taken aback. I never received any letters.
My mum went pale. A mother does it. For your reputation and future happiness. That Pei Zhang lost his parents young. Alone at the border scraping together a bride price. What kind of match is that? Could die any day. You'd marry so far away. Would you ever see your mother again?
The magistrate coughed sharply.
Your Honor, I'm not lying.
So you admit you broke the betrothal? According to the law, the woman's side breaking it shall receive 40 lashes. Guards, drag her out.
My mom wailed. I'm Su Xiaxi now. Not Jiang Xiaxi! You can't do this to me. My lord. My lord. Say something! You promised you'd help me.
The magistrate ordered her mouth gagged. She was dragged out.
Master Su stepped forward. Your Honor, this may be inappropriate.
The magistrate turned on him. Indeed it is. And you abducting women, bullying with your power.
I didn't.
Not now, but before. Not now, but before. And what about later? Guards, take him away now.
Master Su thought he'd covered his tracks. But with my prompting, the bodies of 1 or 2 maidservants were found in the back courtyard. Impossible, this can't be. How could you know? After he signed the confession, utterly defeated, Master Su was taken to the cells, locked up right next to my mom. He muttered to himself for a moment. Then a flash of murderous rage crossed his eyes. He spun around and slapped my mom across the face. How did they know? It must have been you.
My mom covered her face and wept. She caught sight of me. Her attitude had completely changed. She lunged toward me, begging. Meow, I'm your mother. Surely you can't bear to see me suffer here. I had no choice. This old bastard had his eyes on you all along. He forced me to drug you. He promised he'd treat you well.
And Mom, did he treat you well?
Meow, you're the oldest. The eldest is like a father. The elder sister like a mother. Shouldn't you take care of your siblings?
If I'm the mother, then what are you? A parasite? If I'm the slave, then what are you? A parasite? I turned and walked out. Behind me, Master Su's curses.
But my mom, already desperate, didn't have the fire she'd had when she beat me. She just covered her head and cried. My lord, if she won't do, don't we still have our second daughter? They look at least 3 or 4 parts alike.
If she had even a fraction of the nerve she'd had to kill me. I closed my eyes. I lifted my feet and walked along the narrow, cramped dungeon passageway out of the prison. The sun was blinding outside. At the entrance, the magistrate stood half-bowed, alongside Pei Zhizhen.
The magistrate was drenched in sweat. Gold and silver ingots were scattered all over the ground. His bribe had been rejected.
Pei Zhizhen was lazily flipping through ledgers and evidence.
The magistrate dropped to his knees. Lord Pei, the previous charges, they're all false accusations.
Pei Zhizhen shot him a cold glance.
His voice shrank. Some are true, but I'm innocent. My lord, let me make amends. Give me a chance to redeem myself. After begging Pei Zhizhen and seeing no reaction, he turned to grab me. Miss Jiang, Lady Jiang, Lord Pei listens to you. Put in a good word for me. We're from the same county, and I had you brought back with food and drink, all in good hospitality. It's all a misunderstanding.
Magistrate, you flatter me. Far too much.
He froze. No, of course. You and Lord Pei are so close. I didn't see the mountain in front of me. If I'd known you were his betrothed, I never would have let Su Shiqing threaten me. What a grave mistake.
What betrothed? As I said that, it suddenly hit me. A thought surfaced. I spun around and looked at Pei Zhizhen. He was looking back at me, completely at ease. He raised an eyebrow slightly. For the first time, he introduced himself formally. Jizhen is my courtesy name. My given name is Pei Zhang from Xinzhuang. My head buzzed for a moment. He said it was because I never asked. So he never found the chance to tell me. So from the very start, he knew who I was. So his visits to the capital weren't chance encounters or pit stops. He'd come looking for me. The tangled memories of my past life, and all our moments in this life flooded my mind. I remembered him with his arm gone, silently handing me that letter. Probably right after a big battle. He'd come to see me one last time. Then, without even a cup of tea, without an extra word, he just said, "Take care." My heart, which had been so still, suddenly felt something I couldn't name, mixed with a bit of irritation. "So you thought it was funny to mess with me like this?" Peijong had the magistrate escorted out. He pulled out a pair of jade pendants. One was the one I'd pawned. The other was his. Together, they formed the token. "The last time we met, you were 7. Your mother bought a nice piece of fabric. She kept half for clothes. Your sister wanted a dress. Your brother set some aside for shoes. When it was your turn, your mom said there wasn't enough left. Here's a handkerchief instead. You clearly wanted new clothes. But you looked at your siblings and said you'd always wanted a handkerchief. I thought to myself, such a sweet girl like you. If I could be with you someday, you'd always get to choose first. Whatever you wanted." Then at 14, my parents passed away one after another. Our family fell on hard times. That year, I spent my last silver on New Year's gifts for your family. Your mother sent them back. The neighbors said my family had fallen. I couldn't even support myself. No one would ever marry their daughter off to me. I didn't believe it. Uncle Zhang had always been kind. I walked all the way from Xinzhuang to Qin County. Your father wasn't home. No one in your house gave me the time of day. You were in the kitchen steaming a bowl of egg custard for me. Your mom later scolded you for being disloyal. Your brother hadn't even had any, giving things away to outsiders. You said you'd give up eggs for the whole month. All for your brother. I thought, one day I'm going to give you more food than you could ever eat. Then I went north, spent a few years grinding. Since I could read, I started as a scribe. But that path was too slow. If I wanted to marry you soon after your coming of age, I needed military merit. So I traded my pen for a sword. Got lucky. Survived a few battles. Saved my superior once. Got promoted. Squad leader, platoon leader, centurion. Then came the Zhenbei. Generals break out and call for reinforcements. I took a gamble. And then I met you in Jiao City. He made it sound so easy. Like we were just having drinks in some tavern. Then we won big. I was thrilled. Got my reward. I came straight to Jiao City. But you were already gone. Then I went to Qin County. And tracked you down in the capital. But you said you liked the hustle. That's how it is. The betrothal gifts, by law, should be returned to the groom's side. But you pawned the jade at Amiao. Want to redeem it? The pawn ticket is still with you. You can tell me later. By the end, his face turned away. For the first time, that composed face was faintly flushed.